What's going on, guys? Politics Gaming here, and today I am going to do a little informational video. I think this would actually be really cool. If you like this, go ahead and tell me in the comments below about what you think about it, if I should actually keep on doing this. But today I am going to be doing a informational video about Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is a small island, quote-unquote nation, quote-unquote state, quote-unquote territory of the United States. It is based off of the coast of the Dominican Republic, and it is off the U.S. and Virgin Islands, U.S. and British Virgin Islands. And so basically, just a few days ago, I think. Yeah, it was just about a week ago at least. There was a referendum that was held in the territory that asked the people of Puerto Rico, and this is not the first time it's happened several years ago, including in the 2012 election. They asked it too, on what the status of Puerto Rico should be. If it should be remain the status quo, if it should be a state in the union, or if it should be its own independent nation. So basically, 97% of the people who voted for this referendum voted to become a state. Problem is, about 23% of the people voted. 23 to 27%, I think. So, what is the union? The union is basically and I know a lot of my subscribers and a lot of the people who watch this channel are from outside of the United States. If you do not know this, the union is the United States. The states that are in the nation of the United States. So, for example, Florida, Texas, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, etc. And so, to become a state of the union, to become a state in the union, there are several things that you have to meet. Basically, these are requirements that are made by the U.S. Constitution, and so there are several rules to this, actually, and so it's like no state can be made within the borders of one state. So if a state wanted to be made out of North Carolina, right here along the Appalachians, they couldn't do it because that would be way too unconstitutional and would go against the rules of state making. So any territory of the United States that is purchased or annexed or anything like that can become a state. So, for example, in 1845, the state of Texas, or the country of Texas, was annexed by the United States. The Congress voted on it, and they said, yes, we will go ahead and adopt this as a state. It went, and then there's also another process. So the first thing is that it has to be adopted by Congress. And this is the same thing with amendments as well. So it was adopted by Congress first, and then it went to the states. And I don't know if it's in this order, but it is in this area of what I'm talking about. It went to Congress. Had to be at least 3/4 of Congress that had to vote for it. And then the states that were in union at the time of Texas's annexation, they had to have at least 3/4 of the states vote for Texas's admission into the union. And they were accepted into the union, except Mexico ended up declaring war on the United States after the annexation of Texas, and then that led to the Mexican-American War, along with American victory in that war. So, what are the problems of Puerto Rico becoming a state? There are several problems, actually. One, it's debt. Puerto Rico has nearly 100% of its GDP devoted to its debt. Well, actually, according to this, it's 96%. I think in reality, it's at least like 70 to 80%, maybe even higher. Or this is as accurate as it can be. So The one thing is its debt. It has at least 70 to 90 billion dollars of debt. In the game it's 90 billion. In reality, I think it's at least 70 to 80 billion. So that is one of the main problems of that, and that if they are admitted into the Union, then the United States would have to get more involved in Puerto Rico's debt, and would have to, take care of Puerto Rico more. Unemployment in Puerto Rico is about 15%, and Puerto Rico does have a lot of debt, has a lot of unemployment. Poverty is in the good 20%, and it's just it would be a massive problem for the United States if Puerto Rico was admitted into the Union. In my opinion, I think it would be kind of cool and historical to see a new state admitted into the Union. The last time a state was admitted into the Union was in 1959, when both the territories of Alaska and Hawaii were annexed by the United States and were admitted. Well, actually, they weren't annexed. They were territories of the United States. Like in 1941, when Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, there was no... the Hawaii wasn't really a state. It was actually just a territory that the United States had a naval base in. And then actually Hawaii was its own nation. And then Alaska was originally a Russian territory, and then the Russians sold it to the United States for $7 million. But both of these were admitted to the Union in 1959, and that was the last time that any states were admitted into the Union of the United States. So that is basically a lot of history that happened in this area, and it's pretty complicated, and it's pretty controversial too. There's a lot of people who don't want to become members in the Union. Actually, I remember seeing this on the news. There was a few times that congressmen have been shot, and then recently there was an incident in which a congressman recently was just shot, and on the Capitol Hill, on where the Congress meets in the United States, that's weird. There was a congressman who was shot by Puerto Rican nationalists, or like people who wanted to declare independence from the United States, and they resorted to terrorism to get their way, and they shot a congressman. This was like several decades ago. I can't really remember, but I remember reading a story about that, and that's actually really interesting. But yeah, the main thing about it is that Puerto Rico is a complicated story. They can be admitted because the Constitution applies there. They are basically American citizens. Whenever you're in the territory of the United States, whenever you are a U.S. territory, you are an American citizen. But like Puerto Rico, they can vote in the primaries for people. Like, they voted like 70% for Marco Rubio during the Republican primaries, but they can't vote for a U.S. president. And I believe, because the population of Puerto Rico is about 3 million people, so I think, you can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, 7 electoral votes would go to Puerto Rico. And then so that would basically be more of a place that people would have to go, candidates, stuff like that. But in the term of now, within this administration, between the next 4 to 8 years, I highly doubt Puerto Rico can become a state within the next 8 years. Maybe in the next administration, to the administration after that, possibly they would become a state, but it is a long time coming. But yeah, if you like this, go ahead and go ahead and comment below what you think about these informational videos, and then I will see you guys in the next video.